greatest. You're listening to a room full of goats right now. If you don't know, you put the scene on your screen. You're about to check us out. We already here. At this point, I'm not going to represent any sport that I'm in. We're going to represent specifically the SING, which stands for Sports Culture Entertainment Network. So we're going to talk a little bit culture and entertainment for y'all. And we're going to go ahead and introduce it like this. Before we let you know, just make sure if you ain't subscribed to the SING, what the hell are you doing? You know, subscribe to us on all platforms. We on YouTube, we on Instagram, we on Twitter, we on Facebook. We got the Twitch popping. What you waiting on? Rock with us. So I know most of y'all who rock with me, y'all into sports, but y'all may not be into sports the way I'm into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and meet you halfway and talk about some shit that I personally don't care about, but it's good for me to have some insight because I'm at least able to look at it from a standpoint where I'm completely neutral. And what I'm gonna talk about is, you know, what's hot right now. What's hot is Derrick Jaxn cheating. So we're gonna talk about it. And with me talking about this, I'm not gonna slander this man. I'm not gonna slander any gender. I'm gonna tell you the root of all of y'all problems. But before I do that, let me go ahead and introduce John. John, talk to the people.
Hey, it's the fish ready. Let's go. True man, false world. We're here. I'm prepared. Let's do it. Let's go.
Do it. All right, let's do it. So we're talking about, you know, Derrick Jaxn saying how the world should be and not practicing what he preached. That's what everybody mad at. And women are mad because they, you know what I'm saying? So, well, some of them saying they didn't listen, but the ones who did listen are caught between a rock and a hard place. Either they take up for him and look like a Hillary, or they don't take up for him and it makes the man that everybody thought was hating look correct. So they're kind of stuck in a bad situation. So I am here to say none of you guys have to feel any type of way about what happened, because the only thing that happened was a human did something human. That's the only thing that happened. That's it. So with that, let's talk about humanity for a second and where we went wrong. So we can even go back to biblical times. For those of y'all who believe in the word, if you believe the word is true, we were created. We was given everything. We fucked it up because we wanted what we couldn't have. And the one that should have been able to tell them, nah, that's wrong, you shouldn't do that, refused to do that. And then we told on each other because neither one of us wanted to take accountability. And here we are. So years and years and years after that, that's what's been going on. No one's taking accountability. People wanting what they can't have, and people not being strong enough to speak up for what's right. That's humans in a nutshell. And we are all descendants of that. Now, in between all of that happening, this is what occurred. And the reason why we are separated, even though we're equal. What happened was somewhere along the lines, expectations was put on individuals to classify them based on gender, race, sexual orientation, age, and a whole bunch of other stuff. That's what occurred. So now, where we're at today, we have women trying to fight society to prove that they can be bosses, and we have men fighting society to show that we have emotions too. And that is the root of the argument. Because when men show emotions, it's considered soft, whereas women can show emotions. When a woman bosses up, society used to look at that and, you know, look down upon it and like, no, you belong here. Whereas if a dude was to boss up, it's congratulated. So I'm gonna stop right there and bring in John.
Well, first things first, man. I don't have to slander him in order to say you have to be careful when we preach certain things. Everybody's not preaching things for the same reasons. Everybody's not trying to relay messages for the same reasons as well. So what you get is you have an opportunity here for an individual to relay a message, and the message that he's relaying is trying to empower. But the problem with the empowerment that he's trying to do is with that empowerment, he's not also empowering his own gender. He's belittling. You can empower without belittling. You don't have to come into a situation and you don't have to give people, false hopes. You don't have to give people anything positive and give somebody else negativity just in order to balance it out. In these situations, what we want to do, and I have a lot of good female friends, anybody who knows me, even the fellas, you guys, the goal is always to empower. It's never to enable or bring down. But I don't have to bring a person down to bring another person up. It doesn't make any sense. So to go to your point and to really get into it, if that's that right there, what you said is one of the issues right there. Another issue that we have is we both genders tend to do this thing where we like to both point fingers at each other.
Go back to the biblical, what I just said, though, no accountability. Because as soon as God asked, where are you, man? He pointed at Eve and said, she made me eat this fruit. Then Eve said, well, this snake made me eat this fruit.
So I guess the question that I have to ask is, we are a product of our own choices.
Yes.
Now, something you didn't choose to be here.
No.
That's probably the only thing that you can say. But even if you
choose to be here, you choose your family.
And you can't choose your family, and you didn't choose to be here. But from there, after that, you make a lot of choices that you have to be able to accept. So it ain't the fact that men ain't this or women ain't this. It's that your choices ain't this. Now, I'm gonna stop right there.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it still goes back to the root. Where did this start to where we found certain things acceptable to a certain group of people and certain things unacceptable to another group of people, when all of us are human? I'll give you a prime example. When it comes to sex, let's just put it out there. Women actually can come multiple times repeatedly without stopping. So a woman being a nympho, in retrospect, should that be a problem?
No.
Because once we come, we go to sleep. Unless you off your blue pill, or you on some beastie, or you off that Henny, then you might come twice or maybe 3 times, but you still going to sleep. A woman got multiple orgasms, yet y'all tell her she can't do it too many times, or she is this, and this. That is what I mean by when I say societal expectations. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I just know that somewhere along these lines, we made these rules that's supposed to apply across the board when they just don't.
Yeah, this is one of those instances where I can honestly say, like, I think societal standards and things like that, societal standards have crippled us in so many words to believe that their standard is the standard, when in actuality, that's not the case. So why are we conforming ourselves to what everybody else wants us to be, or what everybody thinks that we should be? I mean, MJ, I want to have fun with this for a second.
No, let's talk about it. That's why I called you.
I don't want to be mean when I say this, but I'm gonna put something out there. I preference-wise, for me,
yes, sir.
I wouldn't want to date a woman who hasn't experienced her quote unquote whole phase.
Yeah, it's your preference.
Now, why do I say that? Because I can't ask for the quote unquote sluttiest of virgins necessarily. That's not my thing. I'm asking you to be experienced with no bodies. It's an oxymoron. But why I'm saying experience something, what people think is, at least you know what you like, what you don't like. You come to the table bearing the understanding of, exactly what everything is in your life. Physically, you know what you're looking for mentally, but also everything else and all of that stuff that you had that was going on before that. Now all of that is put into perspective, and you get to say, you know what? okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. Now we can break down and we can figure out what the problems were from previous situations, because at least we have some type of data-driven analysis somewhere that we can go through and we can make a choice, an educated choice.
And
With no
meanwhile-
data, with no data, real quick, but with no data, we have nothing. We don't know anything. So all I'm saying with me saying that is that proverbial whole phase that we're talking about doesn't necessarily mean that you went out and you slept with 50 million men. What that means is you've experienced enough to be able to know what you like and what you don't like. And then also been able to experience other things and being able to take little pieces of each relationship and say, this was good, this was good, this didn't work, this didn't work. That way, at least we can piece things together. Go ahead.
No, I was letting you cook. But even still, just with, and this is iron and sharpening iron right in front of y'all. Just with you even saying that it's called a host stage, why does it have to be called a host stage? Not to say that you meant it that way. But
absolutely. Well,
that
it's
because
because
in itself is the problem.
Exactly. We can just call it life. We can just say she took her body and went to college.
No, I'm not going to even say her body went anywhere. I'm going to expound on what you said and see if we can bring it full circle to really drive home what we're talking about. Me personally, when I met my wife, both of us have went through the stages in our life in which we didn't have to feel like we needed to get a certain person of status or a certain person that society say is what you're supposed to be with in order to know our true value.
Mm-hmm.
We were lucky enough and humbled enough to both experience, she experienced top caliber man that she just really wasn't feeling, even though everybody probably was telling her, this is, the prototype of a guy that you're supposed to be with. Mm-hmm. And vice versa with me. I experienced a woman that dudes were quote unquote drooling over. I went through that stage and realized, well, I'm just not vibing with her at all. Yeah, I get what y'all saying, but there is no connection other than she thick or other than she bad. I can't go any further than this. So what I think a lot of people don't experience, which is why they have these lofty expectations, they never experienced a situation in which they pull the person that commanded the room consistently enough to believe that they can command the room too. That's the real problem. So when you're making up all of these things, it's because you felt like you settled, and that person that you felt like you settled with hurt you. So in your mind, you like, well, if this person that I didn't even really feel like that, I just was messing with him because he was jocking me, or I was only messing with her because she was interested or she was cool. If they mess with me, then I might as well deal with insert unicorn and lofty expectation having person here. Because that's your defense mechanism. That's your pride and your ego not allowing you to open yourself up to get hurt again. But it has nothing to do with anything other than yourself. Hence the reason of accountability.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna hurt a lot of people's feelings. And I had to go through this. So everything that I'm saying, unlike, I can't speak on everybody's behalf, but everything that I'm saying, I went through it. I've been in the stage in which I have been a hoe, I've been a nerd, I've been a pimp, I've been a player, I've been a trick. I felt like all five before. So there's nothing you can't tell me. I've seen every side of the coin. And maybe God allowed me to go through that so that I could be able to relate to each five of you motherfuckers. Maybe. Who knows? But saying all of that, the common denominator is you. Mm-hmm. So you can be very nice and very sweet and get fucked over 5 times. Well, maybe the common denominator is you're too nice and you're too sweet. Just because the common denominator isn't a negative thing doesn't mean it shouldn't be changed. Everybody's not ready to receive. You're all up front.
Well, we can tie this into basketball. We can tie this into anything.
Any sport.
Just because you getting open looks at the 3-point line, that doesn't mean you have to take them. Once you miss a couple, put that ball up in the air one time, take one nice power dribble, and get into a shot inside the line. 2 points. I understand what the analytics may tell you, but the point is a good shot is still a good shot.
And that
so we got to understand that.
And that still depends on who you are. If you know you've put 500 shots up a day and you start off 0 for 4, maybe you should just keep shooting. Your rhythm will come. If you're not really comfortable in that area, because that's not where you practice at, or you've never been in this area before, or you never played at a game at this speed, maybe you should go to the basket, try to get to the free throw line.
And that'll help get everything else going.
So it's all perspective, but there is no right or wrong way to this thing. There is no 100% blueprint to having a healthy relationship. There is no 100% blueprint to pulling your significant other, your better half, your soulmate. The only thing that is across the board is you focusing on your purpose, focusing on being the best you can be, and then the universe will give you everybody that you need to be able to continue to do that. And if it includes a soulmate, they will give you that too.
So to tie this into the Deron Jackson situation, what I want people to take from these type of things is we are human. So the person that's giving you the advice, they could be giving you the advice from a different place, but you still have to take what people say sometimes with a grain of salt. Because a lot of people are not with the Barry White, practice what they preach. And you're asking a human to be perfect. Here's the one thing that we all do at a time. And even if we're not trying, it's just that, MJ, I think we can all speak for this. We've all had that moment where we had to check ourselves in the mirror like, oh, hold on, this don't make sense.
Yeah, because we were born for selfish reasons. We were created for selfish reasons. God had everything and he created us because he wanted to share it. Even though it's unselfish that he wanted to share it, him creating it so that he could share it with us came out of a selfish reason. He wanted to do that. When you do something that you want to do without thinking of how the other person could be affected, it is a selfish move. So if we're born and created out of selfishness, we're naturally are selfish, but that doesn't mean it has to be detrimentally selfish. Your selfishness doesn't have to be a detriment. And this is where you have to take accountability as a human. If you feel like your selfishness is going to put somebody else in a worse state than you found them, then you need to not do it. If you feel like your selfishness is going to put somebody in a better state and they're not ready to receive it, you need to not do it. Do I got to repeat that?
No. I want you to repeat that.
Okay. If you feel like your selfishness is going to be a detriment to the person that you're trying to help, but you're moving from a selfish manner, you should not do it. If you feel like your selfishness is going to help a person along the way with where they're at, but they are not ready to receive it, you should not do it. I can't make a baby eat steak. He will die. He can't digest it. If a baby drinks distilled water, he will die. They're not ready to digest distilled water.
So what we have to do is, as people, and why this is being said, when we get information, we have to understand that we receive information in situations. Sometimes we're not ready to digest that information. Sometimes we're not ready to receive whatever message that is.
Keep going.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, let's just be truthful. In life, we can't even understand that the people that come in contact with us, everybody comes in contact with us to teach us a lesson, to bring something out of us that somebody previous did. Which is ultimately the reason why we talk about a lot of different things. But the one thing that we do not talk about, especially when it comes to dating and relationships, we don't talk about how our previous exes are probably there to show us that our way of dating or our way of picking people is probably not the proper way for us to be dating in the first place.
And in addition, if you find yourself keep going through the same issues over and over, maybe it is a test you need to pass. Maybe it's not the person. Maybe it is you.
At the end of the day, with failure still comes a lesson. You don't fail. You don't fail without some. You don't fail without the reason why you failed being right there in your face. If a relationship failed and you say, well, what happened? If the only thing you can do is point to that other person and say they did this,
you missed it.
You missed it. You missed the entire lesson.
You missed it.
But what you will find out is when people are ready to receive a message and the light bulb goes off, what you'll notice is they start to become so focused on figuring out what happened and why the light bulb went off that they're still missing lessons.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand everything that happens when you fail a test in school. It's just one test. Did you fail that test because you didn't study? Did you fail that test because you didn't do this? So now what we have to do is we have to take the failure and we have to say, what is the plan to do better next time?
Mm-hmm. And just like in school, you can't go to the next grade until you pass that one. So if I'm God, why am I going to give you somebody better if you haven't even showed me you can handle this person?
And there we go.
I may give it in a prettier package, but it's still going to be the same issue until you show that you can pass this test. And then when you pass this test, if that person is meant for you, that person will elevate and pass the test that they need to pass to be what you need to be to go to the next level. And if they're not for you, then the person that you are supposed to be with or the next test will be up and will be there waiting for you after you're done. See, life has never been hard. The emotions make it hard. The feelings make it hard. You know what you have to do. Most of us know exactly what we have to do.
Makes it hard.
No, most of us know exactly what we have to do in life, but we don't feel like doing it. We don't want to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and make those calls to grind in our business. We don't want to put 10-hour shifts in. We don't feel like we should have to keep courting and dating this woman after we've been with her for 2 years.
The proverbial fat man syndrome or fat cat syndrome or whatever they want to call it. That's when just because you got something doesn't mean it doesn't take the same amount of work to maintain. You don't get a degree and then after you get a degree, say, well, I got my degree, so now it's over with.
Yeah.
There's always a certification or something within that degree, or it's always another step that you can go and take after you attain the degree. The same thing goes for a basketball player. You don't just say, oh, I'm a dunker. No, we start being a dunker and then you go out to 10 feet. That 3 to 10 feet area is the next thing. Now we're going to 15 to 17 feet. Now we're going to 15, 17 feet and the corner 3. Now we're going from that to the wing 3. Top of the key. Over time, you just add different things and different elements to you. And the reason why you do those things is that's called evolution. It's called growth. And then the moment that you do not grow is the moment that you die. Whether it be physically or all the way around. But what people have to understand is you don't stop growing just because you conquered one thing. The world is so big, you will never conquer all. You won't be able to. You can conquer as much as you can in this lifetime. But the biggest and the most important responsibility that you have to conquer is conquer yourself, meaning learning everything there is to know about you and being able to apply that information on a day-to-day basis and be able to tell people who you are. Without you knowing who you are, that applies to job interviews. That applies to relationships. That applies to everything else. So accountability, I say in sports, we say availability is the best ability, but in life, accountability is your best ability. Because if you can't account for yourself, you can't account for nobody else.
And even when you get that knowledge of self, understand that knowledge of self is still subject to change. The things I like right now, I might not like 3 years from now.
Correct. Because you know what? Levels is growth. We may have been cool 3 years ago, MJ. We was cool with ignorant hour and talking about certain different things. Now we want to be way more tactful, and we would rather give people something that's more on an elevated plane. I don't want to give you ignorance for an hour now. Not saying it was ignorant in a bad way.
No, I know.
I want to give you something that you chew on at the end of the day, that you say, that's deep. That's real. Because the rest of it is lazy. If I give you, if I say I love radio and podcast, I say I love the scene and what we do here. The one thing I can't do is I can't be lazy with the content. Because I said that I wanted to do this. So it don't matter how many shows I got to appear on.
Facts.
It's about the scene. It's not about me. So I want y'all to take that same effort and that same reference right there and say that the scene was life. It's not about you. Your only obligation is to be the best version of yourself and then give it onto the world. That's the point of the whole process.
And everybody got the same purpose. Love God, love yourself. What makes your purpose different is finding out who you are so you can see how you love yourself.
Correct.
So that way you can use that love and love others. And understand if others don't want the same type of love that you want, learn how they want to be loved and love them that way. Even if it's loving them from a distance because they, again, not ready to chew steak yet.
You know, that's another thing. Sympathy and empathy are simonious to understanding. Understanding is simonious to comprehension. Why does all of that tie in? If you don't understand what's going on, if you don't comprehend what's going on, then in that case, if you're not sympathetic or empathetic to other people, what you'll find yourself looking at is a situation where you're always casting judgment. Now, sorry, Webster's Dictionary coming. Sorry, shouts out to Mo Schefter. Judgment does not mean what y'all think it means. Judgment is simply just casting an opinion on a situation. So guess what we do every day when we talk about sports? We cast our opinions on what we think will happen. There is not a negative connotation all the time on judgment. What people don't want is they don't want other people's opinions on them, but then will turn around in retrospect and want to give their opinions of others. So if you don't want this done to you, why would you do this to others? This is sympathy and empathy. Apply it in all situations. Bring it full circle. Why is that not something that we're able to do? Well, the reason why is because some people feel as if they are better than other people. Some people feel as if they're on a different plateau. I have a funny thing that I do. I don't go to concerts. Somebody said, well, Jerm, why do you don't go to concerts? Why? Well, the reason why is because this artist that I'm going to support, I'm already supporting because I'm paying for the streaming service or I'm paying for internet. But at the end of the day, is this artist sympathetic or empathetic to the things that I may need? If I hit this artist up, I have to still get in contact with the agent just in order for them to give me an interview if it is plausible for their time. So at the end of the day, I make you rich, and then in turn, you have a certain status, and that status that you have is over my status, even though I'm the one that gets you paid.
And the reason why people purchase those tickets is because for selfish reasons, they want that entertainment. They want to be entertained. And, entertainment comes in all forms. So to empathize with them, even though Jerm does not do it, I can empathize with why Jerm doesn't do it. And I can still empathize with why a person would want to go to a concert. You see how that works? That's simple, isn't
it? Hey, and you know what? I would never tell somebody not to go. It's just my personal preference.
And why? Here's a question. Have you been to a concert before?
The only thing I went to was like one of those DJ I know y'all had in the Chicago, the R&B onlys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to that before, but I have never went to an actual concert.
Okay, so you've been to a concert and it wasn't anything to make you want to say, okay, I want to see this person, because it never elevated based off of your thoughts like this won't be reciprocated. And as of right now in my life, I want things that is going to bring reciprocity into my life. And that's where you're at.
There you go. But you see, what it is some people will think of that as me being snotty or saying that I'm more important than the artist, when in actuality, it's not that. It's just simply saying what you just said. If I can't, if listen, the game is about pimps, the game is about hoes. I'm gonna go ahead and use this reference again because this is my ultimate reference of life.
And tricks.
And tricks. Whatever. But at the end of the game, the way that this has to work is in order for a pimp to be able to continue to pimping, he has to whore his services out to other pimps. At the end of the day, if I'm pimping, I can't allow myself to continue to be pimped and not have some pimping be relayed back to me in that aspect. Now, I understand some of the artists may have some good game they may put out there with some of the music that they put out, but MJ, that's not enough. I need you to help me expand on what I'm expanding on, because at the end of the day, we all need each other for us to create what? The common goal, which is wealth. I can't create wealth without you. They can't create wealth without us. So at the end of the day, I want the circle of life to do like this. And I don't want it to be a situation where it's like, no, we can't be stuck can't be stuck halfway. I need I need the money 360, not 180, in the words of Lil Wayne.
No, all facts. And like I said, the way that you're thinking is definitely not incorrect. If anything, you're in a different plateau, because if you're recycling dollars, and it's not just about you, it's about everybody eating. But once again, if everybody doesn't want to eat or do the work and put the work in, still it's just like feeding them steak. So now you just have to find somebody who's ready to eat steak.
Look, everybody don't like red meat. Sometimes you listen, you had fish, she had chicken. Don't make no difference, Chief. All I want you is whatever your diet entails, eat that. If you want to
I'll just say solid food. How about that? Solid food.
Hey, no. I don't know, because some people don't eat red meat. Some people don't eat these things. Some people don't eat different things. I just want to make sure whatever your diet entails, I support that. And I'm okay with that. I will never look at your food while we out and kicking it and say, that's nasty. I will look at you and say, as you like it, I like it. It's not my place to critique you. Because it's not my place. We all got the same 24 hours. We all got the same opportunities to make choices. Whatever choice you make, as long as you can live with it, that's all that matters.
I agree. And, to be completely blunt and honest about it, you're going to do what you're going to do, which is what's best for you. That's how humans move. Until you get to a point where you elevate and you understand it's not about you. And some have gotten there. Salute to you if you have gotten there. Some has gotten called and may not have answered. That's on you, whether or not you're going to do what you're going to do with it. And some are just completely immature and ignorant to it. And you will have your time. But when we're brought in here for selfish reasons. So we are selfish until we realize who we are, which we're gods. We're children of God. So we could create anything we want with the word, as long as we put the action to match it and the belief to match it. So for all of y'all who keep talking about what's wrong with women or what's wrong with men, you're going to keep attracting the very thing that you think is wrong with women and what's wrong with men, because you keep speaking that right in front of you.
Why do they call them spelling words, MJ?
Because they're casting a spell on your life.
Man, so, hey, check this out. If y'all don't understand that reference, hey, I got goosebumps. Hey, no, seriously, y'all need to be serious. When you walk around, tell people say, man, my life just sucks. I say, don't say that. Don't tell me what to say. No, that's not me telling you what to say. I'm telling you what you shouldn't say in this instance, because those words, that's casting a spell on your life. Why would you want to cast a negative spell on your life in a situation when you don't have to? If you believe this is what this bag is different. I just want you to know, if you want to sit up here and you want to say to me that you have faith in that Most High, you have faith in God, Allah, whoever it is that you pray to, I want y'all to exercise that faith every single day. Don't exercise the faith only when you want to. Exercise that faith in everything that you do. That means if this man that you with If he's good to you, exercise the faith that he will show his true colors in time. If this person is really for you, or if this person is your friend, ask the Most High and ask for your God to also give you the strength that you need to get to the end result. Have that faith 110% of the time, and not just when you want to. Don't be faithful only when you're getting something that you want. Don't be faithful and happy and praise Jesus when you're getting something that you like. Hey, bro, if you can't accept it at the bottom, don't accept it at the top. Period. It's called plateaus and valleys. Life is full of those. You're gonna fail 60% of the time, at least. So embrace your failures and say, hey, I failed. Laugh about it. Do whatever you got to do. But guess what? Take that lesson with you, learn from that, and then when you succeed, now when you take that toast is to your failure and your success, because it's something that came from that. Faith, exercise it.
I have personally never seen somebody more appreciative of success than a person that has been through failure and a rough road to get to that success. You know, the ones that it's been handed to, passed on to generation and generation, they take it for granted. That's all they know. Until they get to that point where they have to experience the word no, or until they have to experience rejection or try something that they're just not good at, until they experience that, they're not going to really know what living is like. So, you know, with the whole failure thing, we all fail. We failed so that we can be able to build up the skin that we need to be able to be ready to receive the success when it comes. Because this is no movie. It ain't no the end or happily ever after. The only time it's end when you take the last breath. So when you do start winning, that's when it comes twice as hard, because now you look down and you got millions of people who want the exact same spot you got. And they are twice as hungrier than what you were when you made it. So now you have to be twice as diligent, twice as vigilant to stay there. Which is why we respect Dynasty so much, which is why we respect the guys who constantly stay great, because we know how hard that is.
You got to give something to the game in order for the game to give something to you. It's a give and take. The game does not give to those that give nothing to it. If you're not willing to give the game some blood, some sweat, some tears, that blood oath, that sweat oath, you're not going to get nothing from it.
If you're not, and when it comes, bring it back full circle, when it comes to these relationships, if you're not ready to receive rejection, if you're not ready to understand that you can give your all and it still may not work out, if you're not able to do that and still be ready to move on and move forward without bringing any bitterness or any type of malcontent or negative energy to the next thing that's in front of you that could be your blessing, you're not ready for this date life at all. And you never will be ready. And you'll be the same person sitting here on social media constantly complaining about what everybody else is doing instead of looking in the mirror and asking yourself, what can I do to elevate? Sometimes the price of the admission is the price of admission. If you can't afford it, go somewhere where you can afford.
Hey, man.
Stop telling me what these Instagram models is doing. If they want a dude with a bag, that's the price of admission. So either make a decision to go get the bag and pursue that, or find somebody that you want that's deeper. It's not hard.
Listen, everything in life has a price. What we have to understand is we have to understand that vulnerability is a part of success and a part of failure. You have to open yourself up to be harmed, to be hurt, to be uncomfortable. Oh, yes, that's that word right there. Uncomfortable. To land that power shot, to make that power move, to do those power things. In order for you to cross somebody over, what do you have to do? Got to expose the ball. In order for you to land that big knockout punch, you have to expose not only your face, but your body.
But most important, you have to be on the attacking end. You have to be the aggressor.
Right. But in the same breath, why I'm saying all of this is because being vulnerable is about exposing yourself.
Yeah.
Putting the 100%. What is the reason why you're being vulnerable to begin with? You're being vulnerable because you want to achieve something greater than yourself. Without vulnerability, you can't do that. So when people say that they're scared to take this chance, understand this is coming from me. This is a hustler mentality coming from me. I expose myself 24 hours a day because I know that it's something greater with me exposing myself for these 24 hours a day that I'm reaching and obtaining and looking for. So why is that important to me? Why is that something I want to give to people? Because the one thing that we need to understand as people is if we don't go harder for ourselves, we're not going to go hard for ourselves. If we're not going to go for better for ourselves, if we're not going to stand up for ourselves, nobody else will. You are the most important, unimportant person in your life. And yes, that is an oxymoron, but I want you to understand your mental health, your physical health, and your health, everything about you is important, but it still is only at the expense of what you are here in the universe to accomplish, to conquer, and to help somebody else accomplish and conquer. This bag is different, man. This bag is different, bro. I'm just saying, if we're gonna talk about it, y'all want to be mad at Darren Jackson? Y'all want to watch him fail?
And please believe. I understand the reason for people being mad. They think it was pandering. They think, he was capitalizing off, the black woman's dollar because he was pinpointing a vulnerability and pretty much telling them not to take accountability and to keep blaming. I get it. I wholeheartedly get it. But if you are looking for a person like Derek Jackson to give you advice, you wasn't ready to take accountability anyway.
Y'all mad at Darren Jackson for doing the same thing corporate America does. Y'all mad at Darren Jackson for doing the same thing that has been done for centuries over centuries.
No, but the reason why they
always
the reason why they mad though, because and they think that it's messing up their opportunity to do what they want to do because they don't want to take accountability and being better.
And if that, MJ, I'm not mad at that. I mean, I really like, I want to put a double down on that. But I'm for the people out there who say, well, that's not me. Well, cool. That's not you. But for you, I want to say, if you listen to Darren Jackson and your thing that you say is you felt he had a lot of valid points, cool. But what I want to ask you is this. Why did it take Darren Jackson to tell you something that maybe 9 out of 10 times your man may have said to you that you never listened to?
Or your friend, or your pops, or your uncle. Because they weren't ready to eat it. They weren't ready to receive it.
Yeah, challenge. The challenge is now has to be accepted. Open your mind. It's be the day. We're gonna go lick lack, Big Kurt.
And let me just say this. Here's the reason why I'm saying all of this, because this is the part that y'all have to get to, and this is the part that y'all have to understand. I'm not saying be like Germ. I'm not saying be like MJ. I swear I'm not. But what I can tell you is this: there is nobody on this planet that can influence me to do something that I'm going to do anyway. And there is not a word you can tell me that is going to provoke me. There's not a song they can write. There's not a pastor in front of me. I don't give a damn. You could take the most iconic person in the world and say, you need to do this. I will nod at him with respect. And in the back of my head, I'm going to say, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Because I know what I have to do because I know who I am. Does that mean I'm not taking advice? Of course, I will take advice if it applies to the direction I'm going. Absolutely. But if it's not aligned with my purpose, there ain't nothing you could tell me to make me do something that I'm not going to do. And ladies, if you really want a man that bad, it's really not hard. It's very easy. It's extremely easy to keep a man. Listen to us, care and nurture for us, and sometimes give us some space so that we can have our time with God or have our time to be able to decompress. You do those 3 things, your man ain't going nowhere. And if he do cheat, that means he wasn't ready to receive you in the first place.
You need to be your man's proverbial spy. You need to understand
Be his peace.
peace, and attention. That is that. It's that simple. It don't have to be anything else. What I'm noticing that why we're not good at certain things is because we make the subconscious choice that we are more important than the bigger thing, which is the relationship that we so desperately are chasing. Guess what the universe says? Universe says you don't chase things. Universe tells you that you don't chase, because when you're in a rush, what do? You miss things. So what the universe is trying to tell you is stop chasing and allow the game to come to you.
The only thing you should be chasing is your purpose.
Even with your purpose,
you don't have to
here's
chase
the beautiful thing. You don't have to chase that either.
It's there for
we are living. What are we doing right now? This is part of our purpose, MJ. Our purpose in life was to give people positive reinforcement and take negatives and turn them into positives. This is the real lab of life. This ain't about all that other nonsense. This ain't about being right. This ain't about being right. It's about getting right.
That's it. Perspective. That's all. And just with the perspective, you just got to understand that as soon as you take ownership in what you're doing and try to work on being a better human with it, not because you're not going to get unconditional love. You can get unconditional love and be a better human being. That's the part I really think needs to hit close to home to a lot of people, because I think a lot of people stay where they at because they feel like if they get better, then people will love them, but they will only love the finished product of them. Well, you are who you are at the root anyway. Nobody is going to admire a tree in the process of growing. It's only going to admire the fruit that it provides for them. Does that mean a tree is less loved or less important? No.
Because a tree can provide more than just that fruit. It can provide paper. It provides oxygen. It provides so many different things. So that's what y'all see. What y'all problem is, y'all got to be a little bit more open. That's not a bad thing that you closed, but it's going to be a bad thing if you continue to be closed. Everybody, listen. Every door has to close at some point. Everything has to close up at some point, but something or another. But you also have to know when to open the doors. You also have to understand the purpose of opening the door.
Purpose of saying yes. Purpose of taking chances. Purpose of understanding that even if I fail at this, even if I'm uncomfortable, it is setting up and seed is being laid for something that is way bigger than I even expected.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. This is why I want people to take an episode like this, and I want them to look at this and feel these words, because why this episode is so powerful is we didn't plan this.
Mm-mm.
This is all impromptu.
I mean, everybody has an opinion about them. So I figure if we're going to at least give an opinion, let's give it from a lab point of view and hopefully change somebody's life. And Germ didn't know I was even talking about this. I said, just push record. So that just goes to show how in tune and how tapped in he is. He didn't even know what the topic was going to be. That's why he was shocked when I said what I said at the very beginning. He didn't know what I was about to talk about. He had no clue.
And like I said, I want y'all to understand, man, life is important all the way around, but the most important part is making sure that you're able to give to other people as much as you receive while you're here. So giving somebody something, I mean, you don't understand. If you don't understand the purpose of giving, the purpose of being able to give, the purpose of being in a position to give and giving, then in that instance, I ask you to understand that all of your good karma, all of the good juju, the good energy that you receive just from giving, it ain't even got to be in the form of you getting something. It's just being able to hear somebody tell you, yo, you helped me at a time in my life where I thought I was going to kill myself. That's good. That's some energy that you want to receive. Somebody may say, well, dang, what was going on in their life? It doesn't matter. What matters at that moment is is that you save somebody's life. What matters in that life is in that moment is that you help somebody, because you never know in turn what may happen. You never know. And this is just a quick little gem just before we get ready to wrap everything up. The reason why we love a movie like The Pursuit of Happiness is because Chris generally always did the right thing. He always did the right thing. He busted his ass for everything he got, and he generally never stopped giving, never stopped helping, even in a position not to. The sacrifices that he had to make. And you see how he was rewarded in abundance at the later part in the latter of his life. He failed so much that the woman he was with left him. And he said, you know what? You can go, but my child is staying with me and embarking on this journey as a man to understand what's going on. In that moment, not only did I respect Chris, but that became an influential part of my life. Because in that moment, I said, damn, Jerm, you've been failing a lot. Yeah, I said it. You've been failing a lot. You fail every day. But you know what you keep doing? You keep getting back in this ring and you keep getting knocked down. And you are going to find yourself in a situation one day where you're going to that counter punch that you're throwing, it's going to land. And you're going to win that round that you said you wanted to win. Even if you don't win the fight, you're going to win that round that you never won.
And that round is all it takes to be the stepping stone into becoming a great fighter and getting the benefits of it.
Bingo. So I just want y'all to take that situation, take that, just something like that and it's just from a movie. But it's based on understanding that the things that we have going on around us are all teaching tools. They're all things that we can use every day to improve. So those are my final words. MJ, I'm gonna let you close it.
Not much to close. Just remember to follow us and like us on the same. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start adding more culture and entertainment topics and conversations with this, but just know it's not gonna be on some BS. It's gonna be elevated. And for those who are there that can understand it, cool. For those who, can't, we'll throw some jokes in for you to keep your attention. But for the most part, we want to see everybody win. And even though we're on the path and we're close, we have already won where we're at in life. To be honest, being human, we already won. Every other animal has to abide by God's orders without saying anything. We're the only one that have actual free reign to do what we want and say no to God. So we already won. We already won. So now, since his house is money, we might as well make the best out of it and turn this into the paradise that it was meant to be when it was first created. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and call it even. Like I said, subscribe to the page. If y'all want us to talk about more topics like this, please believe we're going to share it. Y'all can go ahead and put your opinions in, say, yes, we wanted y'all to talk about more topics, or you can say, no, shut up and stick to talking about sports. I mean, we ain't going to listen to that part anyway, but at least we'll know where you're at. So with that being said, Germ Soul True telling you what to do. M drop the J because the fadeaway perfect. Scene, we out.